is going on, guys? Richie here, back again from the Red Planet Films, bringing you yet another movie review, and this time it is for Thor Ragnarok. Now, this film I wasn't really looking forward to that much. The Thor films aren't really the best out of the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe, and although I know a lot of people didn't enjoy it, I really found myself to enjoy Thor the Dark World. I did enjoy the first one, although, it was kind of a little bit flat as far as like the villain goes and everything like that. And obviously, it was just help establish Thor as a character for the Avengers films and everything like that. So that one again was just a stepping stone for the rest of the franchise and everything like that, and all the other movies, the ensemble films and everything. So Thor Ragnarok, when I saw the trailer originally, I kind of didn't like the direction that it looked like it was going in. I didn't really know what to make of it, but there was just something about it, and I'm like, I'll skip this movie. But I ended up seeing it with a good friend of mine, and overall, really, my thoughts are it wasn't what I was expecting, and I don't know what I was expecting, but what I got, I didn't enjoy that much. I found this film to be very dull and lackluster, and due to the subject matter in terms of the story arc that was portrayed in this film from the comic books, the whole Ragnarok story arc, it took on too much of a comedic tone that didn't fit the story, or the subject matter rather. Right off the gate, when Thor is fighting Surtur, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, there's a bit of a comedic element right out the gate when Thor is in these chains and he's just spinning and his back is facing him, and he's like, oh, okay, hang on, wait till I turn around. And it kind of took me out of it because this demon is supposed to be like this big bad guy, and he's explaining that Odin isn't in Asgard. He's not on his throne, so therefore his plan is going to come to fruition. Ragnarok will occur, and he'll be able to destroy Asgard, etc., etc. So Thor ultimately takes his crown, flies back to Asgard, and realizes that Loki has taken the form of Odin, which in the end of Thor the Dark World, that was like kind of the big twist at the end, that Odin is gone and Loki has taken him over. And the way that was handled was very comedic. Odin was he was like very nervous and everything like that, and Loki, who's supposed to be this god of mischief and everything like that, has kind of just been relegated to now essentially a good guy, and it's like he's had his most redeeming qualities kind of stripped away from him. Whereas he was pretty much the standout from the first Thor film and even the first Avengers movie. He was like the big bad guy, essentially. And now it just kind of seems like he's been undermined to like this. I don't even know. I'm not really too sure. I don't really like the whole direction they're going with Loki. But hopefully that'll change. We shall see. But just right then and there, I'm like, I don't know what's happening. So they essentially find out that Odin is in Norway via the help of Doctor Strange. Spoiler alert. Sorry, this is going to be full spoilers if I got to make mention of that. And they find him. Odin essentially dies, thus releasing Hela, which was his firstborn, from imprisonment. And she's pretty much pissed because she wants that rightful claim to the throne, whereas Thor was essentially in line to get it, but being that Hela was Odin's firstborn, she's supposed to get it, but she's going about it the whole wrong way, etc., etc. Hela being played by Cate Blanchett, who I thought was a pretty decent villain in this movie. I really did like her look. Speaking of looks, this film is very stylistic. It has a very nice look to it. The cinematography is great. One scene in particular involves a character that I believe by the name of Valkyrie taking on Hela at the time, back when they were trying to fight against her and imprison her. And it looked like a painting come to life. It was very, very well done. So, not trying to undermine this film by any means whatsoever, because it looked good. Just the whole tone that it decided to take just didn't pop my cork, so to speak. It didn't tickle my fancy. And I guess that's becoming a bit routine in these Marvel films, is that they're too lighthearted. Too much. There's no sense of urgency, there's no sense of danger, really, because you know that the good guys are going to come out on top, as they always do. and they just kind of seem to undersell what's happening. Case in point, right in the beginning, Thor was like, "Oh, you know what? I'm spinning. Hang on 1 second. I'll get back to you. Wait, wait." You know, he's they're not selling the villains as much as I think that they should be. Whereas I'll give DC credit where credit is due. Like, they're not afraid to take chances, so to speak. But that's a different topic for a different video. So ultimately, once Hela gets free, there's a confrontation between her, Thor, and Loki, and Hela destroys Mjolnir, and they're heading back up to through the Bifrost to get to Asgard, and Thor essentially gets lost, as well as Loki does. And they both end up on the planet Sakaar. And on this planet, there is the Grand Master, played by Jeff Goldblum, which was an odd casting choice. I don't really know what to make of him. He was just kind of there. I don't know. Whatever. Takes Thor as his prisoner to have him fight in this whole sort of gladiator type competition. They cut his hair, which I kind of thought was silly. I liked the whole long haired look of Thor, but it is what it is. I'm just nitpicking. But it made for a very funny cameo from Stan Lee where he cuts Thor's hair. And then you later find out, as made evident in the trailers, that Hulk is on this planet. And it kind of borrows elements from the Planet Hulk storyline, which was kind of cool. My only gripe with it was that they had Hulk talking at certain parts in this film. And while it can be argued that he's talking because he's been stuck on Sakaar for 2 years, I believe, it just seemed silly. It seemed really silly. It seemed very cartoonish, and it took me out and away from the character as well. Just to see sort of like this big, brawn monster kind of just speaking when he normally doesn't, just seemed very off. And I don't know, there were just a lot of things in this movie, blah, that I'm kind of nitpicking about. At the Bifrost, there's somebody who allows Thor to come in and out and everything like that, and it originally was Idris Elba's character, Heimdall, I believe, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I'm not sure. But this time it was a character, I believe it was Scourge was his name. I'm not sure. Played by Karl Urban. And I actually found myself really gravitated to his character by the end of the film. I feel like he had probably the best character arc because he was just this guy that wanted to be someone, and then by the end of it, he ended up being a hero, so to speak. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. And he went alongside Hela because he was like, well, I don't want to die. So he ultimately joins forces with her, but then kind of betrays her towards the end of the film and becomes what he wanted to be, which was someone. And I don't know. I just found this movie, I don't want to say it was all over the place, but it just, for the subject matter, again, it just didn't fit well. Because Thor is supposed to die in this story arc, but I guess it kind of sets it up in the sense that Thor loses his eye during battle with Hela. And that's what ultimately helps him become more than just, the god of thunder. And then he ends up taking his rightful throne as the King of Asgard, or King of Asgardians, because Asgard exploded. Because in an attempt to stop Hela, Thor had the idea, he told Loki to go get the crown from Surtur, so then he can come out, and then blah blah blah, the Ragnarok happens, he destroys Asgard. So Thor losing his eye kind of suggests that Thor is mortal. Granted, yes, he's bound to live for another 1,000 years or so, somewhat like Odin, but it could potentially set up a possible death of Thor in the future Avengers films. Just kind of throwing that out there. But again, I wish that this movie was a little bit more serious. I felt like it was too comedic for its own good. I don't know. It didn't grab me as like the previous two movies did. I enjoy the previous two films more than this one, which is odd because a lot of people tend to kind of undersell those two movies, if that makes sense. So while, again, the movie was very stylistic and everything like that, it was too comedic, kind of too boring. Some of the CGI, while it did look good, again, kind of with what I said with Justice League, these types of movies with these types of budgets, they shouldn't have some of the issues that they do. And I mean that in terms of like the CGI. There are obvious green screen sections and everything like that. Or there was a very cool fight scene with Hela where she's taking on all the Asgardians and just pretty much decimating everyone in her path. But some of the parts of the CG just looked kind of, it didn't look very well polished, which was odd. But I mean, overall, I mean, I don't really know what else to say about this movie other than the fact that certain elements I did kind of find cool. I did like the whole character arc that they did and everything, and kind of how Thor is, I guess, being set up to be like the Rune King Thor from like the comics and everything. But not that I'm saying I wish Thor died or anything like that. I just wish they eased up on the comedy. Thor seemed too... He seemed dumb. He didn't seem like macho or like... I don't really know what's the proper verbiage that I'm looking for. It just didn't seem like Thor, if that even makes sense. Overall, while, again, the movie looked very well done, the score was alright. A couple cool scenes and everything like that. And yes, some of the comedy was welcome, but it was a little bit too much. I didn't really find myself enjoying this movie as much as I did with the previous ones. I like Thor the Dark World a lot better, and that's going to rub some people the wrong way, but that's just merely my opinion. Again, that's what these movie reviews are for, just for opinions and speculation and debate and all that stuff. And I would love to hear what some of your guys' thoughts and everything are on this movie, if you agree with some of my opinions and everything like that. Overall, if I had to give this movie a letter grade, I will have to give it a solid C-. So thank you all so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button. If you want to dislike it, go right ahead. I completely understand. Favorite this video, share with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, wherever. Any little bit of help, we greatly appreciate it. Hit that subscribe button, consider joining the Red Planet Army. Turn on notifications to never miss an upload, and also be sure to check the description box down below for all links and info, such as our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram if you want to follow us on social media. The link to our gaming channel, the Red Planet Gaming, where we are 765 subscribers strong, as well as a little Streamlabs donation link if you want to give us some of your chump change, couch change, all that good stuff. A couple of quarters that are sitting in your car. You know the deal. Not mandatory, just made it for shiggles because we've had people ask about it in the past. But again, like, favorite, share, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications, check the description box. Let me know in the comment section what you thought about this movie, where you rank it amongst the Thor films. Are you getting tired of the Marvel movies? Are you getting tired of superhero movies in general? Anything, feel free to sound off in the comment section. And that is pretty much it. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will catch you guys in the next one.